Well, good morning, Facebook. Minister Lee Rice here. Just want to tune in with you this morning to share some information with you. I pray that all are doing well by the grace of God during this season and during this time. I want to share some things that was on my heart. We know there is a lot going on in this world today. Not only in the United States, but also in other parts of the world. There is rioting, there is looting, there is killing going on. So I just want to share what's been placed on my heart, and I hope and pray that it will be a blessing to you. So when we look at this world today, Martin Luther King Jr., on September 27, 1966. This is when I was 4 months old. And these words still hold true today. Martin Luther King said, "A riot is a language of the unheard." A riot is a language of the unheard. Ed Pratt said, a journalist, said, "Racism has always been around, now it being filmed for all to see." Many think this riot is only about a terrible act, what people are doing in the street, what happened to George Floyd. But I just want to share what I believe. What I believe, it goes much deeper. I seen on the news this past week in Minneapolis, the governor, the mayor, the lawmakers, they held news conference, and others are holding news conferences all across this United States. They are saying that, which is true. They are saying that the police officers, the firefighters, first responders, they are all in harm's way. But my question is, let's get to the root of the problem. Let's get to the nucleus of the problem. The question is, who actually put them in harm's way? Well, some women say, "Well, preacher, who did it?" That is a very good, very, very good question. Check this out. When accountability is not being kept, let me say that again. When accountability is not being kept, there will always be a breakdown. Always be a breakdown when accountability is not being kept. People in positions are not doing the job. It's very simple. It's very simple to understand. And I'm going to use the military as an example of if you don't hold people accountable for their action. Just think about this. If a section leader within a platoon is going to hold their soldiers accountable, the soldiers should hold the section leader accountable for taking care of them. If the section leader is going to hold their soldiers and the platoon sergeant accountable, the platoon sergeant should hold the section leader and the first sergeant accountable. The first sergeant should hold his platoon sergeant and captain accountable for their action. All the way up and back down the chain of command. So why these officers? Why these firefighters and other innocent individuals are in harm's way? And buildings are burning down. Somebody is not doing the job. It's just point blank. Somebody is not doing the job. See, this government passed laws, but the laws has double standard. the laws are not being kept. There are repercussions for not having accountability. The ones who supposed to be acting are not acting, taking care of business. Their superiors, the ones who making and passing the laws, are not upholding the law. So in Minneapolis, when they did this news conference, they alluded to the riot in the 60s. They alluded to that. But it's a whole different ball game right now. It is a different playing field now, since they turned the dogs on the black man in the 60s. And the dog was chewing on the black men, the black women, and the children in the 60s. Oh, it's a totally different arena right now. So we have to ask ourselves, before this riot, yes, this is a race riot. Before this riot, what was the government doing? What were they doing? Sitting around having a kumbaya meeting, not taking care of the people and not fulfilling the law. And now everything done broke loose. When injustice occurs over and over again, they sitting around getting paid doing nothing. Sitting around and the same results are happening every day in the streets. I feel the black man been speaking loud for a long, long time. And those who supposed to be hearing and doing are not hearing and doing, and now this nation is in total chaos. Now, something else that I heard on the news, they said that the news is sharing about what's going on dishonors Brother Greg Floyd memory. They said that. They said it in the White House. They said it at the news station. They said it in the government. To be honest, and I thought about this, this world don't know this man's memory. The world don't know this man's memory when he was alive. The only one who truly knew this man's memory was his loved ones, family, and friends, who could truly speak about his memory. Now, if you want to talk about a memory, the only memory I've seen and the world has seen was a black man being choked out. That's the only memory that I've seen. The memory America and the world has that a black man's life is worth less than a legitimate $20 bill. And something else, I truly want to thank God for that young lady. She was 17 years old. And it took courage for her to record that act, what was going on the street. And I thank God for her. But now, today, we have all cultures and race in the street right now. Everybody is in the street. This man, this brother, George Floyd said, he said, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm going to say it again. This man said, I can't breathe. This cry for mercy. This cry for mercy to take a breath shook my spirit. And as it was dealing with me, I reflected back on our history, the black man's history. Yes, I'm going back to the black man history because this is a race riot. This man said, I can't breathe. How the slaves, my Lord, how the slaves couldn't breathe the breath of freedom. If you really look at it, our black sisters in slavery had to scream on the inside with a loud voice while the slave master raped her. Now finally, this nation and this world is hearing her scream. The black man, he had to stand and watch as the slave master raped his wife. I can't breathe. I can't breathe the breath of freedom. The cry of the black man when he was being castrated by the slave master. The cry of thousands. I can't breathe the breath of freedom. Thousands of black men and women have been lynched through the centuries. And they couldn't breathe the breath of freedom. The voice of the screams of suppression and oppression are being heard throughout the nation today. Many may not agree with it, but this is Brother Rice's take on what's going on. A mute voice of our ancestors are screaming loud in the mixed generations today. Let me bring it on up. Let me bring it on up to current time for you. Rodney King, who was beaten by Los Angeles police in 1991. James Byrd, black man being drugged behind a truck until his death in Texas in 1998. Trayvon Martin, gunned down February 26, 2012. He was 17 years old. Eric Garner, choked out by a police officer in 2014. Freddie Gray, 25 years old, was arrested by Baltimore Police Department and subsequently he was charged for possession of a knife. But while being transported in a police van, he fell into a coma. Aubrey, the young man, jogging, killed in a neighborhood, February 23rd, 2020. And now we have George Floyd choked out on May 25th, 2020. The thing that really vexed my spirit is I've seen many white men holding knives, guns at police officers on the news. I've seen video on YouTube. And these officers, they are talking with that individual. They are talking, they trying to talk this white man down. Now, if a black man had a knife, in which they have, they got blown away. So what's going on is larger than just a riot. What's going on is larger than just a riot. This is bigger than what they are reporting on television. I can't breathe the breath of freedom. Why I can't breathe the breath of freedom? Because the injustice in America is choking the black man's right. It is a double standard in the laws of the land. I can't breathe because due process has no process for the black man. I can't breathe. Those are some powerful words if you really look at it. But the thing is, I can't breathe without driving being racially profiled. Even the freedom of buying a house, some black people can buy homes because of the zoning. They want to keep the black people out of certain neighborhoods. But people don't want to talk about that, and people don't want to recognize that. I can't breathe the breath of freedom when a mother, Kelly Bolar, went to prison for enrolling her son in a school outside her district. When you have the wealthy caught up in a college cheating scandal, 50 or more, and they get slapped on the wrist. Something is wrong with this country. It's a double standard going on in this country. The thing that I would share is, can you hear me now? Can you hear the voice of freedom now? Can you hear the repercussion now? Stores being burned. I don't agree with it. No, I do not agree with it. But I understand it. I understand it. Now, let us not get when the Constitution was written. The Constitution was written and signed on September 17, 1787. And at the time it was written for, I'm just Brother Righteous going to keep it real. They have a new thing called fact checking on social media right now. They want to check the person, but you can fact check all you want. You can fact check the truth. The Constitution was signed on September 17th, 1787. And at the time of the signing of this Constitution, in which we have in America today, it was written for the white man. It was not written for the black man, because the black man was not considered a man at all. Some say, well, the wheels of justice are turning. Okay? But it's turning too slow. And that wheel had gotten stuck. This wheel of justice has not made a full rotation since the 60s and 70s. So someone may say, well, Brother Wright, how you know? Well, that's a good question. I seen what my parents went through. That's how I know. Just to me. Others may not agree with me. Everybody have their own thoughts. The voices of our black ancestors, is ringing and crying out in 2020. Check this out. When Cain killed Abel in the book of Genesis, it teaches us, and the Lord said, what have you done? Listen, Your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. Genesis 4 and 10. Their blood still cry out to God from the ground. And something else. Folks been going to meetings. The politicians, the lawmakers, they've been going to meetings. They've been going to meetings for decades. And it seems like we are in the same rut. And something else is messed up. Jail time came quick for Michael Vick. Those of you who may remember Michael Vick, he was arrested for animal cruelty. They slapped the cuffs on Michael Vick so fast. But the thing is, this young man jogging in Atlanta got blown away. Took weeks to find the woman who committed the crime. Took weeks to slap the cuffs on somebody. Even George Floyd took almost a week to slap some cuffs on somebody and hold someone accountable. But they want to slap the cuffs, and they did slap the cuffs on Michael Vick over a dog. So that tells me a dog have more value of life than a black man. And you wondering why America is up in smoke. A riot is when the unheard is being heard. Let me say that again. A riot is when the unheard is being heard. Accountability. Holding people in office accountable for their actions. They're not doing the job. They're not doing the job. They sitting up there, the Democrat and Republican, they going throat to throat through all these years. They won't go on vacation. They want to shut the Senate down. Not taking care of business. Arguing amongst themselves. Not taking care of the people. Now the nations is on fire. Looting and killing going on everywhere. A voice without action is an empty voice. A voice without action is an empty voice. Now they are trying to contain this powder keg. My brothers and sisters, Brother Rice here to tell you, if you don't have the Lord on your side, I highly suggest you do it. Because what's going on now is just tip of the iceberg. And they're going to get worse and worse. Back in the 60s, when my mother and father, they was there, and many of you who listening to the video was there. They turned the dog loose on the black man, chewing on the black man, busting the black man and black woman upside their head with sticks and clubs. But in 2020, we have all races, all nationalities in the street. The mayor of New York daughter, she was in the street protesting, and she got arrested. So what he gonna do? He gonna turn the dog loose and let the dog chew on his daughter? See, a whole lot of people in positions right now. Now your family member is out there in the street. and you don't know what to do. And I'm going to share this with someone. If my suggestion, but you can do what you want to do. You can do what you want to do. But my suggestion is keep your babies at home. Don't take your babies out there in the street because you don't know what's going to happen in the street. It was this father took his little baby out there in the street. And that poor little child got pepper sprayed up. The only thing she could do was just cry. Why? I don't understand why you're going to take your child, your baby, your toddler out there in the street when you see anything can break off. But I'm going to say this. George Floyd said some prophetic words to me when he said, I can't breathe. It goes deeper if you really look at it. Can we breathe the breath of freedom? Can we breathe the breath of equality? I tell you this. When people are held accountable for their actions, then there's going to be a change. After this riot, they're going to go back to doing what they used to do. They're going to go back and say, let's have a meeting. Let's talk about this. How can we fix this? A whole lot of them going to be fired up. And then it's going to die down. Now, we've seen the level of the riots going on right now. It's just going to escalate. So you be careful. You be mindful. And keep the Lord first. God bless.